Hello, my name is Craig. I've been using Excel for the web for quite a few years. In this video, I would like to introduce you to many useful keyboard shortcuts. Suppose we need to create a simple report. Start entering data in D5. We can use right arrow or tab to complete cell entry and move to the next cell to the right. Keep typing other numbers in E5 to I5. Press Escape to cancel the entry in J5. Then hit left arrow or shift tab to move all the way to the beginning of the row. Then use down arrow or enter to move to the cell below, D6. Continue typing in column D. Hit down arrow or enter to complete cell entry and select the cell below. In D9, press up arrow or shift enter to complete cell entry and move above. Use the shortcut again to move to cell D7, then right arrow or tab to the right. Continue entering data into E7 to I7. Use right arrow or tab to complete cell entry and select cell to the right. At the end of the row, press down arrow or enter to complete cell entry and move to the cell below. In row 8, after each entry, use left arrow or shift tab to complete cell entry and move to the left. That's all the raw data for segment 1. It's quite common in Excel to enter a value or formula into one cell, then fill the same thing into adjacent cells. Here are some shortcuts at your disposal. Select E9 to I9 and type 1000 in E9, then press Ctrl Enter. F9 to I9 are filled with the same value as E9 now. In this example, we need to calculate gross profit for each year. Type =E7 minus E8 in E9 and use the shortcut again. All the selected cells are filled with formulas. Sometimes need to copy values from above. We can use Ctrl D. Select E9 to I11, then press the shortcut. The contents and format of the topmost cells, E9 to I9, of the range, were copied into the cells below, E10 to I11. If only E9 to I9 were selected, pressing the shortcut will copy the values or formulas from the cells above. Now E9 to I9 are filled with values from E8 to I8. If want to copy the data to the cells to the right, use Ctrl R, type =E7 minus E8 and E10, and select E9 to I10, then press Ctrl R. Now F9 to I9 are filled with the value from E9, and F10 to I10 with formulas from E10. If just need to copy one exact formula from the cell above, use Ctrl'. Select E11 and press the shortcut. E11 has the same formula as E10. Ctrl'' copies one value instead of formula from the cell above. Select F11, then press the shortcut. F11 has the value 1060 instead of a formula. We're done with the data for segment 1, let's move to segment 2. Both segments have same format, so we can copy and paste the data from segment 1, then make some changes for segment 2. Select D6 to I9, then press Ctrl C, and we see a dotted line around the range. Move to D12 and paste the copied content with Ctrl V. After that, move to D18 and paste values only with Ctrl+Shift+V. 21 to I21 show values only. '15 to I15 have formulas. If need to move some data to another location, we can use Ctrl+X for help. The shortcut cuts a selection and usually pastes it to another location with Ctrl+V. Select D18 to I21, then press Ctrl+X. Move cursor to K12, then Ctrl+V. The original data were moved to K12 to P15. After done with the data entry, most likely we will edit some cells to fix mistakes or make some changes. We can use delete to remove content of selected cells, but cannot cancel the deletion with escape. Use Ctrl+Z instead. Backspace clears the content of selected cell and starts editing, and escape can cancel the deletion. If need to edit the active cell, hit F2. Now Excel is in edit mode. Backspace deletes the selected text or the character to the left of the cursor if no characters are selected. Shift right or left arrow selects multiple characters in the direction of the arrows. Left arrow moves to the left character by character. And right arrow to the right. Delete key deletes the selected text or the character to the right of the cursor if no text is selected. Pressing end or down arrow moves to the end of the cell, and home or up arrow to the beginning. With Shift key pressed first, home or end select characters from the cursor to the beginning or end of the cell. To exit editing mode, press F2 again or enter or tab. Some shortcuts can be used to help on entering data quickly in selected ranges, especially when in non-contiguous ranges. Select E13 to I14. We're going to inputting the numbers for segment 2. After each entry, just hit enter or tab to jump to the next cell in the range. Since the data entry is done, we would like to review the report. Select D5 to I9. Within selected ranges, we can use Enter or Shift Enter to move to the next cell by column. And Tab or Shift Tab to move to the next cell by row. Control-Alt-Left arrow or right arrow can be used to move between ranges. Let's use Shift F8 to add another range to the selection first. Then press Control-Alt-Left or right arrow to move between the two ranges. If no selected range, use down arrow or enter to move to the cell below, up arrow or shift enter to above, right arrow or tab to the right, and left arrow or shift tab to the left. If want to see or check something that are not showing in the current screen, use page down to move the active cell down one screen, page up one screen up, alt page down one screen to the right, and alt page up one screen to the left. If want to go to the top or bottom, or left or right edge of a data region, especially when we have data ranges with many rows or columns, the following shortcuts can help. Control down arrow changes the active cell to beginning or end of a data region and down side of the column, or to the last cell of the column if all cells below are blank. Control up arrow moves the active cell to beginning or end of a data region and up side of the same column, or to the first cell of the column if all cells above are blank. Control left arrow moves the active cell to beginning or end of a data region and left side of the row, or to the first cell of the row if all cells to the left are blank. Control right arrow changes the active cell to the beginning or end of a data region and right side of the same row, or to the last cell of the row if all cells to the right are blank. Pressing home will take us to the first cell of the current row, and Control home to A1. Control N moves to last cell of the current worksheet that contains data or formatting. To switch between worksheets, we can use Control Alt page up to move to the worksheet to the left, Control Alt page down to the worksheet to the right. Often, we need to select data for copying, editing, or formatting. The following shortcuts can help. Shift up, down, left, or right arrow extends selection cell by cell, row by row, or column by column in the direction of the arrows. Shift home selects to the first cell in the row from the active cell. Control Shift up, down, left, or right arrow selects adjacent rows or columns in the direction of the arrows. The rules for Control up, down, left, or right arrow apply here. Control Shift home selects from active cell to A1. Control Shift N selects from active cell to the last cell in use. If we need to get whole data range or worksheet selected, Control A can help. If the active cell is in a data block, the range will be selected first, then the worksheet. If not, the whole worksheet will be selected when hitting the shortcut. In a table, Control A selects whole table if the active cell is in the header. Pressing the shortcut again will get the whole worksheet selected. If not in the header, data body selected first. Use the shortcut again, the whole table. One more time, the whole sheet. If just need one whole row or column to be selected, use the following two shortcuts. Control spacebar selects whole column, and Shift spacebar the whole row. In a table, if the active cell is in the header, Control spacebar selects the whole table column with the header. Otherwise, the whole column without the header. Shift spacebar selects whole table row. To improve the presentation and clarity of our data, we use formatting. Here are some common shortcuts. Control-1 opens the number format dialog box. There are many categories available. In this case, we chose currency format. Also, we can use Control-Shift$ to apply the currency format. Select F7 to I7, then press the shortcut. E8 to I8 were applied the currency format to. In our example, it's better to show gross profit in percentage. Let's change the formulas a bit first. Then press Ctrl-Shift% to apply the percentage format. To emphasize certain text or to set it apart from the surrounding text, we can use Ctrl-I to apply or remove italics formatting, Ctrl-B for bold formatting, and Ctrl-U for underline. If want to change font size, Ctrl-Shift-Right or left angle bracket can be used. Many times, we use menu to perform tasks. Alt key is used to access the menu. Alt-H goes to the Home tab, Alt-A is used to access the Data tab, and Alt-M to the Formula tab. To choose a fill color, use Alt-H8. To pick a font color, press Alt-H-F-C. Sometimes, rows or columns are too wide or narrow. Use Alt-H-O-I to auto-fit column width. And Alt-H-O-A for auto-fitting row height. It's common to add borders to a report. Alt-HB can do the job. Select D5 to I9. Alt-HBA applies borders to all the selected cells. And Alt-HBT gives an outline border to the dataset. In addition, we want to add summation of all years for revenue, cost, and gross profit to the report. Move to J7 and select J7 to J9 in order to add up E7 to I7, E8 to I8, E9 to I9 respectively. We use formulas. Shift F3 is used to open the Insert Function dialog box, which allow us to select a function we want to use. In this example, we chose sum. Select range E7 to I7 for the function, then press enter, and we get the numbers. Copy J7 to J9 and move to J13, then paste the formulas. In J13, press F2 and select the argument. We can use F4 to cycle through all combinations of absolute and relative references in the formula. We chose the absolute references but got wrong result. Press F2, then select the reference and use F4 again to change the reference. This time picked relative references and the numbers are correct. Sometimes we want to know which cells have formulas. Control-Grave accent can be used for this purpose. The shortcut toggles between values and formulas, and Control-Shift-U can be used to expand collapse formula bar. When we have a really long formula or value that exceeds one line of text, the values of the cells with formulas depend on precedence. To see the updated value, use Shift F9. Value in E7 changed from 2525 to 2575. Pressing Shift F9 will recalculate formulas in the sheet. If calculation mode is manual, E9 has a formula of equal sign E7 minus E8. The value in E9 is updated now. Also, we decide to add more information for segment description. After auto-fitting column width, column D seems too wide. We want the added description in a new line. Alt-Enter comes to the rescue. The shortcut can add line break in cell or formula. If we want to add more rows between the segments, Ctrl+ can help. The shortcut can insert cells in rows or columns. The Insert dialog box opens, and we have options in which direction to move the data to insert the new cells. If we select a whole row first, the shortcut will insert a new row right after. Another way is to select the cells across the columns the data range used, then press the shortcut. Better to insert cells this way, because it will not affect the data in other columns. If need to insert multiple rows, select same number of rows first, then hit the shortcut. Ctrl- delete cells in rows or columns. Select a whole row, and the shortcut will delete the row right after. Another way is to select only the cells to be deleted, and the shortcut will get us the delete dialog box, and we have options in which direction to move the data to fill the deleted cells. To delete multiple rows, need to select the rows first, then press the shortcut. Searching is a common task in Excel. Often, we need to find something in current worksheet, even the whole workbook. Ctrl+F is to display the Find dialog box. We fill in what to find, then press Enter. First match will be highlighted, or get a warning. No matching result. Same as Shift F5. Then we can use Shift F4 to find next match after the active cell, and Ctrl-Shift F4 to find previous match before the current selection. Both shortcuts work even the dialog box is closed. To open the dialog box with Replace, use Ctrl-H. Fill in what to find and replace, and hit Find Next button. If there's any match, then press Replace button. The active cell will move to next match if any, and hit Replace button again if needed. Many times, we want to temporarily hide some of the data, so can focus on the data we want to see. Autofilter can help. Ctrl-Shift-L toggles autofilter on and off. Move the active cell to the location where we want to place the autofilter buttons, then hit the shortcut to turn on filter. And we can use Alt-down arrow to open a filter menu. To drill down, but must be in the cell with filter. Turn off filter by using Ctrl-Shift-L again. If data in a column has patterns and we want to retrieve part of the data in adjacent column, we can use Ctrl-E. The shortcut will automatically recognize patterns and flash fill the column. In our example, the item number has a pattern of 3 number of digits plus SKU plus 5 more numbers. Type 99,213 in F3, then press Ctrl-E. Cell F4 and the following cells automatically filled with the last 5 numbers from column E in the same row. Table is a very important data structure in Excel and has many benefits. Move the active cell to the range of cells that we want to convert to a table, then press Ctrl-L. Create Table dialog box will pop up. We can confirm if the table has a header or not. If no header provided, column 1, column 2, will be added as the names. After the table created, use Alt-J-TS to change a style. Shift-Alt-down arrow can be used to open a filter menu to drill down when a table cell selected. And Alt-AC clears filters. To insert rows or columns in a table, use Ctrl+. To add one row, just move the active cell to the location where you want to insert a row, then press the shortcut. If want to add multiple rows, selecting rows in the same column does not work. One column added instead. Need to select cells at least in 2 columns, then press the shortcut. Control- is used to remove rows and columns in a table. To delete one row, just move the active cell to the row that you want to remove, then press the shortcut. If need to delete multiple rows, selecting rows and one column does not work. The column will be deleted instead. Make sure to select the whole rows. When analyzing or manipulating a large set of data, if want to hide or show sections of the data, we can use grouping. Select row 13 to 16, then press Alt-Shift-right arrow to group the rows. Alt-Shift- is used to collapse a group of cells, and Alt-Shift+ to expand a collapsed group of cells. Alt-Shift-left arrow can ungroup rows. Same shortcuts apply to columns. Sometimes, we need to read small text or to see the whole layout of a huge report. Zooming in out can help. Control-Alt+or- is used to zoom in or out. If we need to add new sheets to a workbook, use Shift F11. To add notes to a cell, press Shift F2, and Control-Shift F2 can add comments. Thanks for watching. Please share and subscribe my channel.